Yeah, I mean that's I think really cool that we could have had two relays that would have won tonight if we got to go at the same time. Two relays that broke the world record. It just speaks about the depth of USA, and we've been battling out. We fight really hard for our spots here to make the World Championship team. Tried to make Rio. I fought really hard for that spot, and I didn't make it. So it's just, I mean, it's tough to get on this team. It's tough to get on the relay spots. And for those prelim guys to break a world record, puts a little bit of pressure on us final guys to make sure they don't feel like they kind of got in a poor position by being in the prelims and not getting selected for finals. So a little extra pressure on us to try to improve on their time and yeah, make sure that everyone's happy.
So I saw that the second time in the world that this event is done. You know, this mixed relay we had in Kazan and here, but as you know, it now has become an Olympic event. Does this mean it's one of the reasons why you really pushed hard? Because it's an Olympic event now, so you have to show that you are the number one?
Yeah, we're all fighting for that spot, the Olympic spot. It's a big deal. The way the sport works, kind of the quadrennium every 4 years is the major focus, and this is a major focus right now, this World Championship meet and these races and relays. But yeah, in the future, thinking about that potential to be on Olympic relay spot for a mixed method relay, it's huge. It's definitely a motivation to make sure we're executing our races well and try to figure out where the men and women fit into play. And I think it's simply done this time. They just put it on paper and try to have the fastest splits. And so what the fastest splits were, and I believe on paper before we swam, were 1/100th apart, the prelims to the finals relay. So, I mean, it's a tough job for the coaches, always is, trying to select those relays. And it looked like they did a good job this time. But yeah, we're gonna be fighting hard for that spot for sure.
I mean, it's rather new for you to swim such a relay. Here in New York, we have been more used to it because it's on the program of the European Championship for zero emissions. So it's brand new for you. It's a mixed relay, but no mixed feelings about having girls in your team.
Right. Yeah, there's probably going to be a little bit of strategy for backstroke. It's really nice having clean water, not to fight through waves. So I think people are going to try to swing over to maybe, if I'm racing a female backstroker, I might try to swing over that lane, just get a little bit of clear water. So there's going to be some strategy involved that you're not used to for competing against men and women. And I'm sure like Caleb Dressel wasn't used to being that far behind and then trying to eat people up every stroke of butterfly. It's just really interesting to watch. You really don't know who's winning. One team's way ahead, but it's really exciting to me, and it's uncharted territory, which is really fun since we usually know what's kind of going on. So yeah, it's pretty neat.
So next to you had Carly Moss, the world record holder, or the one who had the backstroke. So what is the feeling of a guy tall like you swimming next to a girl and I mean, getting out of the water, after the underwater 10 to 15 meters, I think you were already ahead.
Yeah, again, it's just right. It's very different. I think it's probably even more different for the females racing against us and feeling our waves. I'm sure they're not used to that kind of chop and water, so it's probably more of a transition for them to get used to. I bet you during our training camp before 2020, there's going to be some girls swimming in our waves, just trying to get used to it, and by working on transitions and our starts. We didn't really work on, Lily and I did transitions, so I swam backstroke for her about 20-30 minutes before the race. That was our first one we've done, so it's untested so far, yeah.
Better late than never, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm sure there are some questions from the floor, please.
Hi Matt, congratulations. You mentioned how hard it is to get a spot in Team USA, and you have been in other World Championships. How is this one different since you were not in Rio last year?
Yeah, it feels really good to be on a team. I feel very privileged to be on a team. It's not something that's expected. And I'd say before, in 2013-15, I expected to be on the team. I thought that was my spot. Now, it's not my spot, it's the backstroke spot, and I happen to be in it. And so I just feel really privileged and blessed to be able to be a U.S. backstroker, and I'm just super thankful every swim I get.
Hey Matt, when you talk about have you kind of sorted out how the coaches pick the team? Because there seems no real rhyme or reason to it. It's obviously a little easier with the U.S. You got such a depth to draw from. But what do you kind of gather as sort of the strategy to that, or is it still sort of feeling it out?
I think one of the coaches just added up all our times from this meet as best they could. I don't think Caleb did his 100 fly yet, but they just kind of figured out our times, put them next to each other, and just tried to make the fastest 4 people. And they didn't worry about positioning, they didn't worry about, so let's say for backstroke we're 6 seconds faster, and for breaststroke, sorry, men are 6 seconds faster, and our males for breaststroke's only 5, so they'll take the male backstroker. So it's just basically figuring out who has the biggest distance, the biggest gap between the male and female, and then put that team together, not really worrying about so much about where they are in the race, if there's guy, girl, guy, girl. I think it's just all about the splits.
More questions?
One more too, Matt. Just, you touched on with what you went through last year and to be back on the team and how privileged you feel. I mean, getting up on that medal podium now a couple of times, I guess this is making it all worthwhile. And probably, I would assume your whole outlook is different now than it would have been a year ago at this time.
Yeah, I'd say early on in my career, my success, I attributed a lot to it, to my mindset and being able to visualize the victory, visualize winning in the race. And now I just focus on visualizing the perfect race, and I don't worry about what happens at the end until it's done. And I think the change of mindset just makes you a little more humble. You're not expecting any results, you're just trying to do your best, putting your best race plan together, and then find out the results from there, and you can't really control what other people do, so it's easier to swim that way. It's less anxious. It's not worrying, oh man, are they going to do really well, or what's their strategy? It's just, I'm just do the best I can and see what happens from there. So being on the podium, it's not something I rehearsed in my mind over and over like I used to. So it's that fresh feeling. I'm up there, and it's not something I pictured 100 times over like I used to. It's just enjoying that moment and kind of re-seeing it for the first time. It's pretty awesome.
So this is probably one of the very first times you've been in this level of meet in the backstroke in total clean water, no one around you leading off that. How did that feel? What was that? Was that like just a surreal experience? And were you able to do something different in that environment?
Well, Mitch Larkin was on the other side of me, on my left side, so it's pretty good. So a little bit of waves. It is different. The way I swim backstroke, smooth water is incredible. It's faster for sure, and so I really like the smooth water. If they let off all females, I think that's the way to do it. Everyone else, you should do that. It feels, it does. You get confidence just seeing that you're ahead of people, and you get more adrenaline and energy. And it's pretty great to not see someone's feet kicking next to you. That never feels good.
So what was it like when seeing the constant exchange of leads and then back down, and then, I mean, that's got to be totally different.
Right, so when we're behind blocks and Caleb was in the water, I'm like, I don't know how we're doing. I had no idea if we're winning the race, if we're behind. I didn't know how I was going to balance out. I didn't know how much of a lead Simone needed. It was just chaos.
You think that's an exciting element for the sport?
Very exciting. It's pretty awesome. Caleb Dressel split at 49.9, so it's really fast, but he just devoured that lead on some of the other flyers, and we don't know what's going on, so it's pretty neat to see that kind of lead exchange like you talked about.
And then finally, a year ago, you didn't make the team, but since then you've had a young child, Skylar. Annie's back in Tucson, and are you feel renewed, or in what kind of, where do you see your daughter fitting in, and what do you want her to take away from this, period of your life going forward?
Yeah, I wonder if she'll see any footage of this meet or press conference later on. So yeah, I'm my best behavior. So she is a good role model to look up to. Yeah, it is. I am trying to be on my best behavior, thinking of her, and just wanting to be someone that she can look up to, and hopefully try to be like a little bit. We don't know if she's going to be a swimmer, but we'll try. Yeah, just trying to do my best, and I am thinking about how I provide for them, my family. And Annie and Skylar, I talk to them every day. FaceTime, it's awesome. It's such a release of anxiety seeing her smiling face, and she's just got a new little motorcycle and she loves playing on it. And I'm not worried about how the results of this meet are going to be, or just even tonight. I was aware of how fast Ryan Murphy split this morning, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't let anyone down by going slower than him. But when I see my beautiful daughter and wife on FaceTime, that kind of anxiety goes away, and that's pretty neat. Before, I got really wound up about those little details and really wound up about results, and now it's really more just enjoying the process and experience. So yeah, they kind of put a new mindset on things.
Thank you very much, Matt. Thank you for attending.
Thank you.